What's up, everybody? K4K Crypto here. Got another video. It's gonna be about Pulsechain, PulseX, Hex, the whole Richard Heart ecosystem. You're not gonna want to miss this. This is gonna be just a high-level overview of how I see things playing out in the future. So let's start off with this awesome freaking, I guess, image a guy made for me. He sent it to me in my email. Check out this K4K crypto logo. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. Not sure if what I should use it for exactly. It's like a cool logo, but I kind of like having my image, or I guess, I don't know. It'd be cool to have like a little caricature of myself or something. Kind of like what Gerardo has. I like that. Or, how Richard Hart, he just uses his face as his image. I feel like that's good for branding. But I love this logo, so I'm not sure what exactly to use it for. But maybe I'll use it as like a watermark or something in all the videos, something like that. It looks so cool. So shout out to that guy. I'm not going to like dox his name or anything. He didn't say he wanted shouted out or anything, but his first letter in the email was J. So thank you, Jay. I love what you did there. So let's get started. So a lot of people get confused in crypto about, where the value comes from. So what a lot of the value actually comes from is we've discovered this new technology. Barely anyone knows how it works. It's kind of like the internet was when it came out and nobody knew what it could bloom into and how much freedom it gave everyone. It's also similar in the regard to the Gutenberg, I think his name's Gutenberg, printing press. When that came out, it gave more power to the people because they didn't have to depend on just the people of the church only being the ones able to read and stuff like that. And so it spread the knowledge more out into the world, and people were able to error correct and come up with better outcomes. More innovators came out into the world because now more people were knowledgeable about this stuff, and so it gave them more freedom. And I see the blockchain and cryptocurrencies basically are like that next new power to the people type of invention that once the cat's out of the bag, we're never going to go back to, all right, no more books, you're not allowed to read anymore. Like, you can't, whenever, apparently whenever the printing press came out and people started making books, the church tried to like, hey, what are you making these books? Like, they tried to shut them down or tried to clamp down and keep that power over people. But what they started making were books on how to create the printing press. So humans always find a way to, they pave the way to make the world a better place, regardless of the powers that be. So people in power try not to lose their power. They will try everything they can, just like a failing business, just like Blockbuster. They tried to save their business by allowing people to come buy popcorn and candy when they picked up their movie, when they didn't realize that the issue was that Netflix was delivering DVDs to their house and Blockbuster was too slow to upgrade. So you got to change with the times, and the powers that be, no matter how big they are, they're going to fall down to this new technology. And they're going to have to figure out new ways to actually be competitive in this new world with this new technology we have. Because it's always advancing. You have to update your worldview on this stuff that only a few people know about. So there's a lot of value in understanding crypto at these times. Like, you were not late to the party in these cryptos. Some of them are... Well, let's get into, there's so many cryptos. So people get overwhelmed, like, what? How are these things rare? Like, you can just create a new one, and it's just, well, where's the value in something you can just create tons of? Fair. Well, the reason this crypto stuff maintains its value, the ones that aren't just straight up scams or poorly written, the ones that actually stand the test of time, the reason they're better stores of value and able to maintain value over the years, like several multitudes of X, multiples of X returns, is because we're comparing it to the dollar. We compare our value to the dollar. And so whenever you're comparing it to something that can be printed and it can increase in supply much, much more, you're just devaluing that currency that you're valuing your thing against. So if that keeps going down in relation to that, your value is going up. And so most crypto that's just not a straight up scam, like Richard Hart projects, Pulsechain, PulseX, Hex, Bitcoin, Ethereum, those aren't scams. And so they're just going to perform better because we can create scarcity and better money with cryptocurrencies if done correctly. So crypto in general just has all the best features of money that humans have been wanting for a long, long time. So since it's just a better upgrade, and most people aren't aware of it, but once they are, they kind of just go all in, and it's not because they're crazy and they're going to lose everything. I think it's everyone who understands legacy finance realizes after they look into crypto, wow, this is just going to be the next money. And so people pour in all this money into it, and it's never going to be the top because 99% of the world does not own like a majority of their wealth in crypto yet. So we are building the infrastructure with Pulsechain and PulseX and Hex as a store of value. That's being built before our eyes. And you are at such an early point in this stage that's why people are like, well, if this happens and the price goes to this amount, I'll be a millionaire in like a year. And it's like, yes, because the dollar is losing its value very fast. I don't have the chart up here, but I was just I was trying to figure out how loans would work in a more deflationary system, monetary system versus a inflationary system. And so I was like, well, how would loans work if the money becomes so valuable that if you got a loan out in that currency that if it went up so much, you would almost never be able to pay the loan back. So maybe it would just be short-term loans, something like that. But I didn't fully figure that out yet. But anyway, I was looking at what were the prices of gold, like 100 years ago, and what is the price of it now in dollars. And actually, you know what? I can probably pull it up. 1 second here. This one. All right. This is going to blow your mind. You guys are going to be like, this is so terrible. you guys are going to like this. 1 second, guys. All right. I have it labeled hyperinflation. Okay? Get excited for this one. All right, I think I could show this now. All right. Let's zoom it in here. Now, you'll want to pay mind to this left side. This is the price in dollars that gold was around 90 years ago. We'll round it down to 90. It's like 92 or 3 years or something. So, in like one person's lifetime, this is how much inflation is like destroying the value of your currency, which you have no control over in legacy system. Okay, if you had $20 back then in 1929, about 90 years ago, your grandma could have grown up in this. So this has happened in one lifetime, and it's speeding up like exponentially. So if we just keep scrolling until today, look how devalued the dollar has become versus gold. This is gold. I'm just going to keep scrolling. Okay. All right. It's ramping up. And here we go. And we also went to, does it say it here? $2,000. Where is it? I know sometime last year in 2020, we had a high of like $2,064. $2,064. So in just one lifetime, like 90 years old, your grandma She had dollars back then. Maybe she worked for him. Okay, by way the system works, just the mechanics of it, of inflating the supply and devaluing, debasing the currency constantly, and how it's ramped up over time, this is, you lost 99% of your value. And it's not because gold is in more demand, it's mostly, vastly, just because the dollar has lost so much value that now everything else looks like it's expensive. Okay? So you've lost, like, the prices of things have gone up 100x in 90 years. Like, that's, if that is, doesn't look like hyperinflation to you, I don't know what to tell you. And this hides the fact that we've had insane technology booms over the past years. Like, the internet is freaking massive. Cell phones that allow you to do photography, videography, all these different sectors that are just insane. Like, you have all this stuff you can just do for free that used to cost money and stuff like that. And so the cost of these things should be, like, everything should be going way down in price from technology. Like, that's a deflationary force, okay? But we're still inflating so much that we're outpacing all that technology that we've come up with as humans, which is like the wealth of the world. Humans discovering new ways to make things easier, allowing yourself to get more for less. So what's happened is we're inflating so much, it's outpacing even the deflation of technology and more on top of that, like, every year. Okay, that's pretty insane to lose 99% of your buying power in a generation, and it's speeding up like exponentially because they just have to keep printing more and more because technology is increasing at a faster rate as well, which, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, the first thing you're trying to do is get rid of workers and employ more technology. And so it's creating this bad combo where people, like, wages are not going up because labor is getting cheaper over time. Because technology just fills the gap and is more efficient, and it never has to have a day off or anything like that, which is should be great for humanity, right? You're like, sweet, I don't have to work in this sweatshop anymore. This robot does it all, and now I get to benefit from all these cheaper prices because they don't have to pay the robot anything. They don't have to pay it for its time. They, maybe some upkeep, but they're able to produce things at such lower costs now that I get to benefit as a citizen of the world. But now, but since this other force called inflation, where they just keep increasing the money supply, which you have no control over and can't benefit from the inflation unless you hold tons of assets, then you get most of the money first, so you kind of benefit more than the people who depend on their dollars. But anyway, this inflationary force is just destroying the value of your currency, that, like, the money you've earned, so much that it even outpaced how much that that improvement in the factory. Now it doesn't matter that it was able to reduce the prices, it has to continue to go up in cost to you because they inflated the dollars so much that they've removed any sort of benefit from the technology. And that's the hidden theft of the current central banking system. And so when these dollars are going down in value so fast, so extremely fast, and they're going to have to print more and more and more to keep up with technology, they it's like a race to the bottom with this currency. And so that's why when I said on that one stream that it's kind of funny and sad that we're all going to be billionaires, in maybe a decade or something like that, because the dollar is so debased that hyperinflation comes in and we're all just billionaires on paper on dollars, but you need like $1 billion for like a cup of soda. And so crypto is where I think smart money is beginning to come in and actually realizing the value of this stuff, because it's actually scarce money that is immutable once deployed on the blockchain. And so you can pick a crypto that has the best returns. Maybe it just performs the best because of some parameters that are set. They can't be changed. It's not like someone can come in and change the supply like they can in the central banking system. They can print 10 times the amount they did last year if they wanted to. It's one guy with a keystroke can devalue all of the money you've worked for with a keystroke. That's just worse than crypto. So people are getting rid of their fiat dollars. They're running into this stuff that cannot just be arbitrarily changed, and that's why pretty much all crypto that isn't a scam goes up in value like an insane amount. And people are like, "How's this happening? It's crazy. It's all a scam. How can it go up in value?" It's not that it goes up in value so much. I mean, there's the extra speculation and stuff, but it's actually the devaluing of what we're comparing it to that is alarming. And so that is why crypto has its major value. And people wonder, well, why do some do better than others, and some much more than others, and why do some, like, if you can obviously say like, okay, Bitcoin is just worse than Hex. Okay, it doesn't perform as well. It's less secure. It's less upgradable. I know Hex is immutable, but you can upgrade it in other ways by allowing it to be used on another network. You can have contracts that are used before it. It's like a Lego system. You can still build around stuff and maintain the original contract. You can even reward current holders with possibly an upgraded token in the future by allowing them in a similar fashion, like a sacrifice address, to upgrade. So that's kind of a cool thing I thought about. I think this might have been how Richard originally came up with the sacrifice idea, is, how do you upgrade an immutable smart contract as more better code and things become figured out in crypto? Like if a new thing comes out that allows anything to have anonymity or privacy built in, and it's like really easy, you just have to plug this into your code, say it's that easy, and everything becomes private, which would be awesome. Well, Hex is immutable, you can't do it. So what would people do? Well, there's ways to do it where you have the people in the old system, they could just sacrifice their current coins, and then they are part of a list that gets airdropped the new upgraded contract. And so it's kind of a rough way it's not like fully planned out, but it's kind of a rough way of how you could upgrade your crypto, even though it's immutable, until something amazing comes along that's worth upgrading to. And so that's kind of how you can scale it. And that's why it's also great to have a team with Richard at the head who are incentivized through their amount of ownership of the tokens to make it the best thing possible, because they win if everyone else is winning as well. So no one wants to buy your crypto if its performance is terrible. Do they want to buy your crypto if the performance is the best they've ever seen in the world? I think more people want to participate in a crypto that does something like that. And so they're incentivized by holding a large supply to do what's in the best interest of everyone. It's like Crypto Heartbeat says, the John Nash equilibrium. He won, like, was it a Nobel Prize for figuring out that, what's just best for me isn't always just the best play. The best play is actually to figure out what's best for everyone and yourself. And so that's kind of what Richard is employing with his strategy to cryptocurrency. So he's aligned incentives so that, hey, if I help everyone else out and everyone else is doing great, I do really well as well. And so that's why Richard Hart's team and his projects are able to do so well, because he can put 100% of his effort in and he can see a return on that. As opposed to something that is so decentralized and ownership wise. So we're not talking about consensus. That's actually locked code. He can't just go in and change the rules and be like, you know what? I'm going to triple the supply and only give it to myself. No one can go in and do that, even the admins who created the contract. What we're talking about is centralized ownership, large ownership amounts. So in Bitcoin, nobody owns a large enough supply of it to actually benefit from working and improving it. If you own even 1% of Bitcoin, if you go and improve it and everyone's like, yeah, you spent all your money and you worked on it, and now whenever we go up 2x in price because of that, you get to double your money. That's it. If you owned 90% of Bitcoin, wouldn't you put all of your efforts towards making Bitcoin as good as it could get? And everyone else would be like, yeah, we're getting all these upgrades. This is awesome. And so you're going to stay ahead of the curve because you have the most incentive to make it so. And so no one else in really crypto is kind of doing this. There are some, mostly all these other coins that have large ownership amounts. People have gotten burned on because the founders just sell the coins constantly to fund their efforts. Richard's team, on the other hand, has found a way to, well, he's been rich and retired since before he got into Bitcoin. And if we know how well Bitcoin did, if you're rich and successful and multimillionaire before you got into Bitcoin when it was less than $30 and you held until now, you have done like 10,000x your multiple millions, easily a billionaire before starting his cryptos. And so, and then now he has whatever address, the sacrifice address, we know that has several billions of dollars in it. Okay, like if we don't even count the hex, it's even close to $1 billion just in like stable coin. So he has no reason to dump the price, especially whenever you make code so well that if it really does become the new global currency, you wouldn't want to sell that, would you? You would want to buy that. Just because you create something and it's awesome and you distribute it to people, it doesn't mean you don't want any more of it, even though you created it. He has every right, just like anyone else, to buy up a currency. And people get the frame backwards. They're like, hey, founders are selling the coins, that's bad. But founder buying the coins is also bad? No, I think that's good. You want the founder to be interested in the project. And he makes a good point that these sacrifice phases are amazing ways to actually remove potential sell pressure and supply off of the market, and without moving the price against themselves. Because in order to remove like $1 billion of hex, for example, from supply by buying it, you would need way more money than that amount, because you'd push the price up huge. Like, I didn't do the math on it, but yeah, you would not. I don't even think if Richard spent everything he had, he wouldn't be able to buy $1 billion worth of hex with like a market buy. So maybe my math's wrong there. That was like super quick, but just because the price would go up exponentially, if you were to put like $1 billion in there, you wouldn't get $1 billion of hex back. You'd have insane slippage. And so he's incentivizing himself to create these infrastructure, the infrastructure of the new crypto, the best performing crypto kind of sphere area with Pulsechain and PulseX. He's building out better crypto than anything else out there. He's got the better devs. He knows the stuff. He knows more about blockchain than I've ever seen anyone else talk about. And he's able to articulate it pretty well. Like literally anyone who's ever talked to him, they're like, hey, this is bad because this. And he's just like, nah, that doesn't matter, dog. Like, let me tell you why. And here's how this happened and why what you think is not correct. And he'll just go down the line with like 10 different examples. And the person's just like, huh. I don't want to look wrong, so I'm going to keep arguing. And then you kind of get a bunch of those videos, and then after a while, people stop having arguments with Richard. And I think he's supposed to be on BitBoy today, so I'm excited to watch that and see if they have any apologies for him or something. Because people who don't talk about these cryptos that he's created, they are gatekeeping the best performing assets that we may ever see. And so imagine like something is amazing out there, but you're you're being selfish and not sharing it with others. That what does that say about you? You'd rather, I don't even know. Is that even, you're not right. So it's not even like you'd rather be right than help others. It's, I don't know. They'd rather be wrong than help others. I don't know. That's hilarious. So, oh yeah, dude. Last time, look at this. Crazy. Well, if I refresh it, sometimes it doesn't come back, so I won't do it. But look at these sacrifice numbers. I think I made a video 2 days ago, and we were at 420 million. What? Did you just say a half a billy was put into the sacrifice in 2 days? That's what I'm saying. That's insane. This is crazy adoption. Like, this is an amazing opportunity to get in before the market decides how much the stuff is worth, because it doesn't really matter what we paid for it, whether we paid $1 per pulse or half of a millionth of a penny. It doesn't really matter because the market's going to decide what it's worth. And so thousands and millions of mines deciding on price is how we get like a more accurate price. And since only like 60,000 or 65,000 people even participated so far in the sacrifice, we have millions and billions of people to onboard, and I think they're going to find value in these awesome game mechanics of the Pulsechain and the PulseX. And it's not just game mechanics in these things. Like, we're going to be better than ETH 2.0 at launch and before they ever launch. Who knows if they'll ever launch? Like, they've been talking about ETH 2.0 for 4 years, doesn't come out. Like, and they talking about sharding for 6 years, hasn't come out. So, Richard, maybe we'll see it by March. I hope we see it by March, early March. That would be awesome for Pulsechain. But the built-in marketing aspect of Pulsechain is amazing. People on Ethereum, anyone who is part of the whole ecosystem will have a free token over here on the Pulsechain. It can't be ignored. It's going to have a value. People like that. It's not just only for some people. You use this contract, here you go, and you have to like, let me give you these permissions, and then I maybe get scammed. Nope. It's just you're gonna join a website. It's gonna say, switch me to Pulsechain, switch me to Pulsechain. Then you're on the Pulsechain in the MetaMask. You're just gonna be on a network exactly like ETH, except way faster. You're gonna pay absolutely nothing basically to do anything. Like, it doesn't matter how bad they wrote the contracts for some gas, like say you're using some not even gas optimized Decentraland or something. If they fix their front end and they set it up, you can transact and play your little NFTs and mint stuff, and it's going to cost you like pennies. And so if it's all the same tickers and you pay almost nothing, why would you ever use Ethereum? And so this is how, like, we are scaling Ethereum with Pulsechain. And Ethereum is the biggest layer 1. And no one has ever done this before. No one's ever copied the system state. That's the genius of Richard Hart. He's a man with a vision, and he's figured out the best way to onboard all of Ethereum users, because all the other chains that launch, they just launch empty. Ethereum users go, okay, I could go over there, but there's like lower liquidity on stuff over there, and it's only projects that are newly built over there. And so there's just less to do. And so it's like trying to convince someone to go to this one store down the road instead of staying at the mall where everything is, even though it's a little bit more expensive there. So you're like, I'd rather just have all these options. Well, what if there was a mall that you could just walk, like, you don't even have to walk anywhere. You're just like, hey, put these glasses on. Oh, I'm in the better mall. Everything's cheaper here. Same stuff. Let's go. We're going into the future. And it's so easy. That's part of the best part about the onboarding is it's so easy to switch. It's going to be like, hey, everyone on Ethereum, you have something for free over here. And I don't think it's going to be super low value. I think it's going to be high value, especially as more more and more people understand that, oh, it's just how we're going to scale Ethereum, basically. You're not going to need Ethereum especially once we get like a fiat on ramp or something like that, fiat on and off ramp, you can just go straight to Pulsechain and you never interact with Ethereum ever again. Why would you? You want to spend $70 to get your friend into crypto? To get them to keep their value from their hard-earned money? Crypto is the best place to store it, in my opinion. But I'd rather have them store it on a blockchain that you don't have to pay $70 to get in. It's like there's almost no transaction cost. You don't want insane transaction costs. It's dissipative to anybody getting in. You're gonna ruin. You make onboarding so much harder when you have to talk about all these extra costs. You know how much easier it is to be like, hey, yeah, set up your wallet. Boom, you want to buy something like right now? Oh, log in. You buy this. You can buy it with credit card. You just buy. Now you got like $500 in crypto. You're just like, sweet. Yo, dude, just hold that. Add to this every week. And if you want to know a way to get more money in, we can show you that way later. Not, if you have to tell them you have to lose almost $100 just to get in, that turns off, like, in my experience, like 75% of people. They're just like, maybe not. Or I front the cost for them, and they don't even know about it because I feel embarrassed to telling them, yeah, it's like $75. I just go, hey, I'll do this for you. I don't even tell them about the cost. I just inform them of how awesome this stuff is, and then I'll do it for them. Because I don't want to make them feel like they owe me anything. So I just do it for them, and then I give them their stuff, and then they have control over it. So let's talk about Pulsechain and PulseX and how awesome that is. So since Richard is completely changing the game here with Pulsechain, like I said in the one video, we could have up to 40x the throughput of Ethereum, which means even if we got every Ethereum user, everything that they were doing, and they all came over, we would have to have 40x that amount to actually get to their gas fees, and still even less because of since we have such higher total supply, like the GUI would be much lower. Well, let me think about that. All right, well, okay, maybe it would just be, we'll just match it up, even though we have way more supply. I think that reduces the amount of gas cost because of the lower, what's it called, price of each one. But I think if it's equal, it should be like the same USD cost. Maybe someone can confirm that in the comments or something. But since we can just we could just take all of Ethereum's users and then, hey, then Ethereum's a little cheaper. So people are like, hey, thanks, Pulsechain. You really helped it. Imagine the press we're going to get when all the fees on Ethereum go down because half their users are over on Pulsechain and people are going to actually be talking about it. You can't gatekeep something like this like you can with Hex, which is just an ERC20 and on Ethereum. That's something other people would say. I think Hex is amazing. But this is going to get way more press, in my opinion, because it just makes sense. People understand this stuff way easier than Hex, It's a new blockchain. It comes with the system state. Everyone gets free coins. It's faster, cheaper. Like, fee burning, there's no inflation. There's no inflation in this. So you're never getting diluted in Pulsechain. In Ethereum, if you're not a miner, get wrecked, noob. You're losing value every day. Every day you're losing value. And what do those people do who get the inflation? They sell the price down. So not only do you get diluted, they push the value down on top of that. So get wrecked. Inflation sucks, doesn't it? So imagine a monetary system where your piece of the pie just grows over time as you delay gratification. You could pull out your mega gains in 2 months after it launches, All right, well, it's going to be more later because they just keep printing the other money that's entering the system. And they're not printing more Pulse. So it basically has to go up in value, not financial advice. But these coins Richard is and team are creating are so well designed, so well thought out. No one else has thought to do this stuff. It's not like we're just copying Ethereum exactly and then we're saying this is just slightly better. It's 10x better, which is what you need in order to actually get people to change their habits. Like, you need to offer something that's 10x better, or it's not worth the transition cost. Pulsechain has that. And he basically had to build PulseX because what do you do on a layer 1 nowadays? And it's an awesome technology that's came out in the last 2 years. Decentralized exchange. DEXs. We are going to have the most liquid DEX. It's going to be amazing. And liquid just means it has lots of value there that you can actually retrieve. You know, it's not like everything is going to be, you're not going to experience a lot of slippage. I know there's a lot of random words most people don't understand, but we're going to have a better user experience on our DEXs than other mainstream DEXs will say. Why do I say that? Well, we're able to slurp up all of the liquidity from SushiSwap, Uniswap, 0x protocol, and Uniswap v3. We're actually able to we found a way to scoop some of that up. It's just a little bit different math. And so we're pumping the value of Pulse when we do this and the PRC20s. And so this is going to be oh, and well, the bot that goes in first and buys up all this stuff to fix the ratios and pump the prices, it gathers it up from all those protocols. It gets like 99.9% of all the PRC20s, and then, you know, it combined the Uniswap, it combined the SushiSwap that came over, it combined the 0x, it combined the UniV3 even, which there's a lot in there. Puts all of that into one pair for PulseX, for every pair. And so that is just going to be huge. Users pay less in PulseX than in any other DEX other than PancakeSwap. And so users are going to be like, sweet, I get to keep an extra, I'm not sure what percent. It's like 3 or 5% or something like that. 3% off your fees. That's awesome. And that's pretty big, you know, for people who want to market make or trade or something like that. If you're doing lots of trading, 3% every trade is pretty huge. And I'm talking about percent of the fee. That's how much. It's not you're paying 3% per trade or something. That would be horrible. So PulseX has got me really excited. I know a lot of people they usually know me for talking about PulseX kind of before anyone else thought it was super cool. And what really got me excited was the buy and burn. And lo and behold, everyone got their panties in a bunch because Richard said, "Hey, you can trade PulseX for Pulse at launch." And so people take that as, is he saying to sell our PulseX for Pulse because it's better? Is that what we do? We do that? I don't think that's what he means. I think he just says that so that people who are sad they missed out on Pulse, that getting PulseX might give you a good ratio for Pulse. Okay? It may even mean that he thinks you'll get more Pulse for your PulseX because PulseX might be more valuable. Yeah? You ever think about that? Flip that around? And so, because he wouldn't want to tell you to get a bad deal, you know? And so we may see, I mean, I'm not going to say I know what the prices are going to do or anything, because it does depend. Like, if only 10 people realize the value of PulseX in the buy and burn, and 99% of people don't understand, then yeah, their money is going to go towards Pulse versus PulseX, which means Pulse will look like it's doing way better than PulseX. But I know, and some of my followers know, that this buy and burn is going to keep scaling up over time. So maybe the first day you won't notice it that much. Maybe the second day you won't notice it that much. But over these years, like, if this is the base infrastructure for this new financial system, which I believe Richard is building out, that's open to all. There's no there's no limits to who can join this. It's not an ICO run by a company that goes, which government is going to allow people? Can we beg for our rights? No, Richard found a way to let anyone participate because it's why would you not be allowed to spend your money how you please? We're not funding terrorism or anything like that. We're just wanting to transact with other human beings on the planet. 99.9% of people are amazing, and you shouldn't punish everyone because 0.001% might get $1 from you. It's like, what? It's just, I don't like it, and I like what Richard's doing in allowing anyone in the world to participate in the next amazing thing. And so people who buy PulseX and they hold it, you get to vote in the DAO, so you get to decide the inflation of the inflationary token, which isn't PulseX. It's going to be another token. We don't have a name for it. But you get to decide on that. Okay? You get to be basically anyone who owns PulseX and chooses to invest in it. You get to be the Federal Reserve of the system. You get to decide, all right, who gets this inflation and how much do they get? You get to decide the pairs. And so you get to benefit from that because if you are a good steward of that power, you get to see the ecosystem grow as a result of you, not honestly, responsibly using your power to get people to invest into the Pulsechain ecosystem. So if you do like stupid stuff and only buff up one pool or pools that don't help the ecosystem, you're not helping yourself. So you're not going to do that. And so you're incentivized to do stuff that helps you out, which is incentivizing people to bridge over their PRC20 or their ERC20s and their ERC20 stablecoins to back the value onto the Pulsechain, which is one of just the craziest, awesomest ideas Richard, I think, has ever concocted. Because the only people who got this other free copy are Ethereum asset holders. And so they are bringing their value over to back the value of the thing only they got for free. And so you're not actually losing value whenever you pair them against your PRC counterpart. You're just kind of combining the values together, and you get this extra token on top. And so if you combine them, you're never going to lose like your initial US dollar value unless they both go down in value. So if one goes up a lot and the other one stays the same, well, good thing you're still holding both, right? Then you're just getting that extra token on top and fees. And so people are incentivizing, like he found a way to incentivize people to back their own bags and make them care about their tokens that they got for free. Where normally when you get stuff for free, you're like, I don't know what this is. I'm going to just sell it. And people they just sell it right away. I'm sure some people will do that. And I think they'll regret it, especially on certain ERC20s that end up having good use cases on the Pulsechain. So aligning incentives is one of the most important things in crypto. And that's because that's how all this stuff works. Everything is based on incentive structure all the way back even into the legacy system. You have to align incentives, except now it's in code, and so it has to be done really well. And if it's done well, it just is like this self-fulfilling or self-perpetuating circle of awesomeness. It gets people to pump their own bags. It sounds a little crazy to people who haven't been in crypto long. But that's kind of what we have to do. It's how do you incentivize people to do what's in their own best interest, even if they want to go and trade and lose all their money or something. How do you incentivize them to do what's the best thing in crypto, like hold? That's what Richard first instilled in everyone with his first project with Hex. It showed people the power of holding. And how did he get people to do that? He didn't just say, hey, it's going to do really well, good luck. No, he didn't do that. He said, all right, I'm going to incentivize you to hold. I'm going to pay you to hold, okay? That's what he said. That's what he said with the contract, basically. And so he found a way to incentivize people to just hold on to this new money. He knows crypto is going to do amazing things for humanity, and it gives more power to the people. You have full control over your money, as opposed to central banking where they're just debasing the currency that you work for, which is a hidden tax. It's a hidden theft. They're removing value from the stuff you worked for. Wouldn't you like the stuff that you worked for, you put your time and energy into, wouldn't you like that to be something that's not arbitrarily taken away from you? I think people would like that. And so crypto is that new thing that allows people to actually store their wealth that they've earned over their lives. And it's in a safe environment. Like the vast majority of people do not get hacked or lose their money in crypto, by accident or whatever. It's 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 harder. Like if you're doing it right, security wise, it's not even takeable by any government agency, even somebody who, I don't know, attacks you on the street or something. They can't get your wealth. Like the worst thing they could do is just, I guess, I don't know, kill you or something. But then they get no benefit out of that. What do they get? A murder charge. They don't even get your money. So it disincentivizes violence. Like, what are you gonna get? I don't have any gold bars in my house. I got nothing. So it's a it's a driving force for peace in the world, because no country is gonna go and attack someone if there's nothing to steal there. Like, oh, all the wealth's in the populace's head. Okay, we can't get it from them. I guess we'd better just align incentives and hope that they peacefully want to come live in our lands. Because going and attacking them and making them hate us means they're definitely not going to use their wealth to help us out in our country. So I think we're going to see a lot more governments competing for the wealth of the citizenry, which means they need your vote because they can't arbitrarily print money to invest and buy things, government spending that you didn't actually vote for. So if they're not doing what you want, you don't give them the wealth that's in your head. They can't just print and devalue your currency that you thought you earned and then do what you didn't want them to do. So they're going to have to actually make better rules for the society. So I think crypto is just this amazing world-changing technology that's going to change a lot of things in the coming decades. Like it's going to come faster and faster with how technology is growing. And I think Richard Heart projects they're poised to be the most performing assets of 2022. I mean, I didn't plan on making a guesstimate, but if I had to guess, I'm not going to put them in order, but it's going to be PulseX, Hex, and we got Hex on Ethereum, Hex on Pulsechain, and that inflationary token. I don't know if the inflationary token is going to be in the top 5 or whatever performers, but those other 4 of Richard's are going to be top performers in my opinion of the 2022. And so I'm going to be holding all 3. I'm not like, even though I think PulseX is amazing with the buyback and burn, which I didn't fully talk about, it's going to be this huge, there's so much buy pressure that's going to grow over the years. It's a longer term play. All of this stuff is. People who bought Ethereum and sold it at a 10x missed out on the 14,000x after that. Okay? So, and you got like your 10x in the first day, I think, on Ethereum. Literally the first day, if you bought it at 30 cents, it was like, oh, when we launched at market price, it was at $3. Okay, well, do you want to sell your Pulse at a 10x the first day? I mean, I guess you can do that trading thing, but guys, this is to free yourself. This technology is the new money, which should only go up in value over time, since it can't be arbitrarily debased, okay? That's why this stuff is going to do insanely well, because the more technology and stuff we create over time, it's going to make prices go down, okay? And even if prices go up in dollar value, our stuff is going to appreciate way more than the dollar is. So we're going to gain dollar value, if that's what you care about, over these next coming years, like at a faster and faster rate. And we're here before it even launches. Who's not excited? I don't know who's who's not excited. This is going to be amazing. Yeah, so I'll talk about the PulseX buy and burn. So yeah, if we scale up to $1 trillion in volume over a year, if we gain that, say this first year we use that to build up to $1 trillion of volume for the next year. So in 2 years we'll have had a year of a trillion volume. That means $600 million of buy pressure over the year. That's like two. What's that? 600. So that's like $2 million of buy pressure a day, just extra. You know, that's just the platform going. You know what? I'm gonna market buy the price up. I don't care what the price is. I'm gonna buy it today, or maybe it does it weekly. We don't know when it's gonna happen, but there is a buy and burn ability. It's just it's a little hush hush because it can't be automated, and so we can't have any expectations of work from others. But I have the opinion that I think I think that those fees that are generated, 21% of all transactions on the whole thing, are going to be used to purchase PulseX, and that just is just this cycle of buying up the price, buying up the price. Everyone else is like, I want to get in on that buying up of the price. I'm gonna buy it. Buys again. It's just gonna, it's just this stacking of, I better buy this before this thing grows and grows and grows like exponentially with all these onboards. When you onboard people, the network effect is exponential. So that's another reason why we have these insane valuations of these cryptocurrencies, because like you onboard 10 people, those 10 people tell 10 people each, and that's 100 people, and it just goes from there. And so all that money is being unlocked, billionaires are like getting in, there's like trusts being built by people in the Hex community for all they're gonna do is buy basically Richard Hart projects and stake it or just hold it. And that means just means they're buying and not selling. And that stuff can potentially be listed on the old stock exchange, and people can buy shares in that company, and that company uses the shares to, or the revenue they get from that, to just buy more. They just buy more crypto, Richard Hart stuff, which performs better than anything else. Like, what else did 10,000x in 1.5 years? I don't know. I don't think anything else. Yeah, Hex did better than anything else has ever done in that amount of time. Better than Bitcoin, better than Ethereum. I think we are so early that like people are still having these questions of market cap's going to be high. How can it go higher? Like we have all this old stuff that's been figured out by Richard for what 3 or 4 years. Like he's known the answers to these things and has explained it to people over and over and over and over and over and over. And there's still new people who just don't get it. And so that's all opportunity for us going forward. People will still have to learn what actually makes price go up. Richard and his team have figured out the best stuff for that performance. And so they use their power and incentive structures to benefit everyone in the ecosystem because it benefits them. Okay? I like when incentives are aligned, then it's like easier to have faith in something whenever you see that you can see what's happened in the past and you're just seeing what they're doing. It's amazing. I'm so excited for this stuff, you guys. This video has gone on pretty long. I have so much stuff I want to talk about. I gotta make some more videos. Thanks for making this awesome logo, Jay. I won't dox your other name. Um, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think we are just early to the best thing in crypto? I think we are. I think we are. We are not going to believe how well this stuff performs. This it's it's not inflationary, guys. The Pulse chain and PulseX deflationary. You gain percent ownership just by waiting. It doesn't have to have some stake function where you earn more coins. If like people like the idea of yield, and I do think that's cool, but you can actually get diluted in the other system by, like in Hex, for example. I mean, Hex is amazing. Like I'm not harping on Hex, but you can get diluted if you don't delay gratification as long as other people. Well, in PulseX or Pulsechain, if you're just holding it, you're not getting diluted ever. Okay? The only way someone can get more share of it than you is if they market buy the price up, pushing it against themselves and benefiting you because now it's a higher price. And so they pump your bags to get in, and if they ever want to get out, they lose their ownership. So it's an amazing system. It's like what money was supposed to be, in my opinion. And now we have it, and people are still catching on. Oh yeah, I want to talk about one last thing. So people talk about Ethereum and Bitcoin. They're already too big to beat. Some people think we'll never be able to catch them or beat them because of their network effect. Well, first of all, Pulsechain is going to make quick work of Ethereum by this amazing built-in marketing of allowing everyone on the network to have an incentive to come over and back the Pulsechain versus staying on Ethereum and losing all their money to gas fees. So we're going to get most of the users, especially the people who can't afford over there, they're going to have to come to Pulsechain, and they're going to be happy to. So those Bitcoin and Ethereum, some people say, they're already so big, that's their biggest thing. Well, what's interesting is, like, they're big, and that is impressive, but we have better technology and a better community already than those ever will, because Bitcoin isn't scalable. Like, their best chance of scaling is like a layer 2 solution called Lightning, which if Lightning works for Bitcoin, it'll work for any cryptocurrency. And so you don't need Bitcoin anymore. But there's lots of money there, isn't there? There's lots of money and value stored in Bitcoin. And it will continue to do well. It just won't do as well as these Richard Hart projects. And that's because I think people are coming around to the fact that Bitcoin it's old. It's old tech. It's spaghetti code. You can't really upgrade the stuff. It's not money Legos like Ethereum. And Ethereum is just too clogged up. It's too slow. We have better stuff now. It's being implemented by Richard Hart's team. And so it's just going to take time for those people in those other systems to realize that they're holding the old technology and they'd better get over to this newer one as fast as they can. So there's tons of value there to be extracted into these better systems that Richard Hart's creating. And so the reason these old cryptos maintain their value for so long is because there's not really that big of an incentive to switch your crypto if you've already got, like, if it's done so well for so long for you, what's your big incentive to switch and risk it, to switch into something so new? I think there's a huge incentive to get into these Richard Hart projects because he's already shown how awesome it can perform and how you could have had, I think, up to 1500x your Bitcoin value if you got in at the bottom. Like, you could have had, if you like Bitcoin, you could have had 1500 times your Bitcoin and like 300 times your Ethereum if you did it at the bottom. Maybe more than that. Yeah, I think more than that. I think that went up to like 600 times. And so there's just this amazing opportunity with getting in on the best new tech by the team that can actually perform. So I'm really excited to see these people see the 10x advantage of getting into Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex with their huge crypto bags, though they may continue to just hold it just because it's worked out for them and it's going to keep gaining in value. They're just going to do worse than we are. So if they never join, who cares? But crypto in general is just going to be outperforming the dollar forevermore because it's locked code that no one can come in and arbitrarily debase it. So since we're comparing it to the dollar and they just keep removing its value, we're going to go up in value. And so we're going to go up in value the most because we're new and there's going to be more people who find out about it than who already know about it, than especially compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is just a huge opportunity to get in at this early level before anyone else. Anyway, so yeah, if you hold Bitcoin and Ethereum, you're going to make money over the years because people are still going to pour money into it. But imagine if you could get into a project so early in its infancy, while it's already been proven to outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum at their earliest stages when they made the most gains. That's what we're outperforming when they were at their best. We're outperforming even that? Yeah. Yeah, we are. And we have even better systems coming in soon, which have more adoptability and more ease of entry with less fees, less transaction costs, better user experience. You know, it's we got like the best team on it, guys. And I think Richard's already proven himself, but I guess it's going to take some people missing out on 2 more opportunities before they get it. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be hard in both of these ones. I'm going in hard, you know. I went in hard in the PulseX sacrifice, more so than my Pulse sacrifice. So we'll see. Anyway, I just wanted to share all that infos with you guys. Thanks for watching. Um, Shout out to all my members. Thanks for being an awesome member. Yeah. Thanks for supporting the channel, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, share this video. I know I went over like several different topics, but I think it's just an overall arching general strategy. You're gonna want to hold this stuff for years. It's not get in Pulse early and then sell it for PulseX and then ride that and then buy Hex again. Like, come on, guys. We're not trying to trade. We're trying to hold and maintain our wealth. We just happen to appreciate so fast that people feel the need to like, I gotta sell this into dollars, you know, to capture some of this. And if you do that, that's good. But I think you're really gonna miss out on a lot of potential gains if you sell too early, which is really easy to do when the project is just beginning. So make a long-term strategy, and like Crypto Heartbeat says, plan ahead. You gotta think about what you're gonna do with all this abundance we're gonna have. We're gonna have insane wealth going into the future because this stuff is not. People can't just remove the value of our stuff, okay? Not like in the normal system today. And so whenever we're kind of at this lucky part where we're able to make a lot of value out of just adopting this new technology because we're so early, you know? It's like being the first people to find out that gold is actually a better store of value than glass beads or something. Or seashells. You were just like if you're one of the first guys to be like, yo, I'm trading all of my seashells for gold, and everyone else is like, nah, dude, seashells have been working great for a while, you know. I got this more rare seashell over here, and you're like, lol, I'm gonna buy gold, and you can buy gold for like 1 seashell per ounce. That's like, you're crushing it. That's what we're doing. So we're able to amass these huge amounts of the supply, even though technically we're not providing huge value to the world, if you could say that. That's why I think it's important to onboard as many people as you know, because that is helping the world. We all win whenever we have a better, more fair playing field, and that's what these cryptos are. It's a better playing field. The money you earn in this system, it can't be debased. So this is just, it's like the beginning of a new era. The world is not going to be the same as it was like in 20 years. It's going to be completely different, like crazy different. I think governments are going to have to change. They're going to have to step up their game. It's going to have to be more fair. It's not going to be, I don't think we're going to have war. We're not really going to have crazy war with crypto, if it gets fully adopted. So if you don't like war, I think it's in your best interest to get people into crypto. I know that's a crazy stretch. You're like, how does that work? But if no one can extract money from another country, like no one's gonna value these dollars in a few years. And so once that goes away, the only way to get wealth is from the citizenry. And if it's all in our heads, they really better be giving us something good for our wealth, or they're not gonna get it. So that wraps everything up. I hope I didn't drone on too long. Thanks for watching, everybody, and peace out.